Welcome back to MindEase StudioLab. Today, we're diving deep into a topic that touches almost everyone's life in some way: anxiety. Have you ever felt that knot in your stomach, that racing heart, or a mind that just won't shut off? You're not alone. It feels like we're living in an age of anxiety, but is this a new phenomenon, or are we just more aware of it? Let us explore why anxiety has become such a prominent part of our global conversation and what it truly means to live with it. First, let's talk numbers because they paint a staggering picture. The World Health Organization reports that hundreds of millions of people worldwide are living with an anxiety disorder. Think about that. It's one of the most common mental health conditions fautores a nivel mundial. This isn't just a trend or a buzzword. It's a genuine public health concern affecting people of all ages, cultures, and backgrounds. From the bustling streets of Tokyo to quiet towns in the American Midwest, anxiety is a shared human experience. The sheer scale of it tells us this is more than just individual struggles. It's a collective challenge we need to understand. So, why is this happening? Why does it seem like anxiety is a global epidemic? The answer is complex, with roots twisting through our biology, our personal histories, and the very fabric of modern society. Let's start with our biology. Our brains are hardwired with a fight-or-flight response, a survival mechanism that served our ancestors well. When faced with a predator, a rush of adrenaline and cortisol led them for action. The problem is, our modern world is filled with different kinds of threats, work deadlines, financial pressures, social expectations, and a 24/7 news cycle of crises. Our brains can interpret these chronic stressors as constant, low-grade threats, keeping that alarm system switched on far too often. It's like a smoke detector that goes off every time you make toast. Then there are our personal experiences. Trauma, whether it's a major life-altering event or a series of smaller, painful experiences, can deeply rewire our nervous system. It can teach our brain to be on high alert, constantly scanning for danger, even when none is present. Chronic stress from a demanding job, a difficult relationship, or caregiving responsibilities can also wear down our resilience over time, making us more vulnerable to anxiety. And sometimes there are underlying medical conditions or even genetic predispositions that can play a role. It's rarely just one thing, but a combination of factors that creates the perfect storm for anxiety to develop. When we talk about anxiety, it's crucial to distinguish between everyday anxious feelings and a clinical anxiety disorder. Feeling nervous before a presentation or worried about a loved one is a normal, even helpful, part of life. Anxiety becomes a disorder when the worry is excessive, persistent, and debilitating. It's when the fear proportionate to the situation and begins to interfere with your daily life, your work, your relationships, your ability to simply enjoy the moment. This is the hidden struggle for millions. On the outside, someone might look perfectly fine, succeeding at work and maintaining a social life. But on the inside, they're fighting a constant battle against intrusive thoughts, irrational fears, and a relentless sense of dread. Recognizing the symptoms is the first step toward getting help. And they're not just in your head. Anxiety manifests physically in very real ways. It can be a racing heart, shortness of breath, dizziness, or muscle tension. You might experience stomach problems, headaches, or difficulty sleeping. Emotionally, it can feel like constant nervousness, irritability, or a sense of impending doom. You might find yourself avoiding situations that trigger your anxiety, causing your world to shrink details. The mental toll is exhausting. It's the what-if scenarios laying in your mind, the catastrophic thinking, and the inability to concentrate on anything else. Acknowledging these signs isn't a sign of weakness. It's an act of self-awareness and strength. Now, let's go back to our big question. Is anxiety normal? Given its prevalence, you could argue that experiencing anxiety is a near-universal part of the human condition in the 21st century. The pressures of our always-on culture, the comparison trap of photos by social media, and the global uncertainties we face all contribute to a baseline level of unease. We're expected to be more productive, more connected, and more informed than ever before. This constant stimulation and pressure can easily overwhelm our nervous systems. In this context, feeling anxious is a very logical response to an often illogical world. It's our minds and bodies signaling that the load is too heavy. But here's the most important part of our conversation today. Just because anxiety is common doesn't mean you have to suffer in silence or accept it as your permanent reality. There is so much hope, and there are effective paths to healing. Treatment for anxiety disorders is not a one-size-fits-all solution. but it often involves a combination of approaches. Therapy, particularly cognitive behavioral therapy or CBT, is one of the most effective methods. It helps you identify and challenge the negative thought patterns that fuel anxiety and develop healthier coping strategies. It's like getting a manual for your own mind, learning how to work with it instead of against it. Medication can also be a vital tool for many. Under the guidance of a doctor or psychiatrist, certain medications can help rebalance brain chemistry, easing the overwhelming physical and emotional symptoms. This can provide the stability needed to fully engage in therapy and make other positive life changes. Think of it as a life raft that keeps you afloat while you learn to swim. There is no shame in needing that support. For some, it's a short-term solution, and for others, it's part of a long-term management plan. Beyond professional treatment, there are powerful self-care techniques that can make a huge difference. These aren't just trendy wellness tips. They are evidence-based practices that help regulate your nervous system. Mindful breathing is one of the simplest yet most profound. Taking slow, deep breaths sends a signal to your brain that you are safe, activating the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and digest mode. Just a few minutes of focused breathing can pull you out of an anxious spiral. Regular physical activity is another cornerstone of anxiety management. You don't have to run a marathon. A gentle walk in nature, a yoga class, or just dancing in your living room releases endorphins and reduces stress hormones. It helps get you out of your head and back into your body. Prioritizing sleep is also non-negotiable. Anxiety and poor sleep often exist in a vicious cycle, but establishing a calming bedtime routine can help break it. Finally, connecting with others is a powerful antidote to the isolation that anxiety can cause. Talking to a trusted friend, family member, or a support group can remind you that you are not alone in your struggle. Sharing your experience can be incredibly validating and can lift a heavy weight off your shoulders. We are social creatures, and genuine connection is essential for our mental well-being. So are we all affected by the rise of anxiety? In a way, yes. Even if you don't personally have an anxiety disorder, you know someone who does. It impacts our families, our workplaces, and our communities. By fostering more open conversations, practicing empathy, and sharing resources, we can create a world that is more supportive and less stigmatizing for those who are struggling. Understanding anxiety is the first step. Recognizing its signs, knowing its causes, and spreading awareness about the effective treatments available can change and save lives. Your journey to peace salutes deserve your patience and your compassion. If you are struggling, please know that help is available and you can feel better. Talk to a mental health professional or a trusted doctor. You are not alone, and you don't have to carry this burden by yourself. Thanks for joining us today at MindEase StudioLab. If this conversation resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear it. Let's continue to support each other on the path to mental wellness. We'll see you in the next video.